I'm upset. No disrespect, respectfully. But disrespectfully is disrespect. Don't be disrespectful. Those vile, disgusting Spartans. Poor little bro, them. And I'ma tell them why I'm mad. That vile, disgusting cesspool in Columbus. The other state. And of course, as always, I'm upset.
Maize and Blue Nation, it's Tom Brady. I co-founded Autograph with one mission in mind: change the fan experience for the better. That's why I'm excited to announce the release of a new app that recognizes the biggest Michigan fans. The Autograph Fandom app gives you access to the best Michigan content, fan challenges, and exclusive rewards for diehard Wolverines, all for doing the things you already do, like listening to this podcast. Head over to the Apple App Store and search for Autograph Rewarding Fans and download today.
Good evening, good people, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages. Welcome. I'm upset. Let me go ahead and say that off the break. Cheers. So Michigan Jim Harbaugh and Michigan have accepted the terms of his 3-game suspension handed down by Tony Petitti, the commissioner of the Big Ten Conference. This is upsetting for several reasons, not the least of which Jim Harbaugh won't be on the sidelines November 25th, next weekend, as Michigan beats the brakes off that vile, disgusting cesspool in Columbus, but in A2. Now that I've got that out the way, Michigan has not accepted. I'm sorry, let me be clear. The Big Ten has admitted that they have found no evidence linking head coach Jim Harbaugh to the incident. I will say this: they did leave out, at least Michigan in its statement, in its release, left out that the Big Ten had not found any of Harbaugh's coaches culpable. That's important. I think Sam Webb pointed out a similar point. Shout out to anybody and everybody who's doing their reporting and doing actual research there. So shout out to those guys. But this is upsetting. As a Michigan fan, we came into this season. The coach was suspended the first 3. This is, by the way, beyond it being upsetting, this is historical. The coach has been suspended for 3 games on 2 different occasions in the same season. Let that sink in for a second. When he was suspended the first 3 games of the season, that 3-game stretch of the non-con, they said, oh, it's okay because this is the easiest stretch of Michigan's schedule. Well, now he's being suspended in the hardest stretch of Michigan's schedule. This is incredible. It's nothing like this has ever happened before. Harbaugh, in essence, is going to miss half of the regular season, 50% of the regular season. He will not be on the sidelines to coach. Now, the difference is in this 3-game suspension levied by the Big Ten, Harbaugh can coach the guys during the week. It's just that on Saturdays, he can't be on the sidelines. And I saw a couple people try to downplay the importance of that. Excuse me. Number one, it's important because he's the head coach, right? He's the guy that galvanizes a lot of these guys, a lot of the players, the coaches. And it's important for those time. How do I say this? For those time-sensitive situations, right? Even on going forward on a 4th down, making any of those decisions, that is usually the job of the head coach. He's the guy that gives the final okay to on going forward on 4th down, a fake punt, fake field goal situation, any of that. That's the head coach giving the final okay for. And of course, as I pointed out, those time-sensitive situations, it's all going to be different. I'm going to get to your comments here in a second. Let me finish my Juice is what we'll call it. Okay. By the way, I'll be on the Week Zero podcast after this, following this 10 o'clock. So if you want to follow me over there, be my guest. But let me get to some of the comments because I know it's going to be a lot of them. I'm going to try to start from as close to the beginning as possible. My guy Mello is here. I am not saying that. Uh, Seth, let's win the Natty with grace. On all those who hate it, go blue for sure. Go blue. And by the way, I haven't even gotten to the actual football. And by the way, I want to thank you guys because this is my first time this week doing anything. I've been a very busy man this week, but thank you guys for sticking with it. Be sure to like and share the stream. By the way, I appreciate it so much for showing the big, so much for that. Although, you could take that several different ways. Team Up North never had leverage. I doubt that's the truth, but at this point, the rabbit has the gun, so whatever. All pressure is on Ryan Day. Certainly, all pressure will be on Ryan Day on the 25th. And even if Jim was there, if I'm being fair, all pressure would be on Ryan Day. He's the one that now has to prove that he can beat Michigan. Now, obviously, he did that his first year there in that seat. But again, when you're born on third base, you think you hit a triple. I don't need to go any further than that. But yes, Ryan Day does have the pressure on him. Shout out to my guy Dom. I hate to say it, but I think there must be something else that makes them guilty. They should fight. I get this point. At the same time, though, fight. If you do fight, right? And let's just say that this comes to a conclusion after the season and it's found out that Jim is completely not responsible even. The problem is that he would likely still have been suspended for those 3 games. It really doesn't matter. And in this case, the reason that I say this works out for Michigan is because the Big Ten has agreed to close their investigation. And as somebody pointed out to me, and I have to concede this point, if you shine a light on any program in the country long enough, you will find something. So I am not one to say that Michigan is a dirty program. I don't believe that, by the way. But I do believe that tightening up and dotting all the I's and crossing all your T's, I think it's less than likely that every program around the country, that any program around the country has done everything by the book, but I digress. Harbaugh is taking one for the team. I agree with this. I think this is certainly what is happening right now. Our university leadership is a joke. I don't know, man. I would be in the same boat, Cameron, by the way, before this situation here. But this situation has led me to believe that they would get behind Jim. They did get behind Jim, especially initially. But I think, at least in the release, it sounded like Jim went to them with this, to if we can work something out, then let's work it out. So I think Santa Ono certainly is behind Jim. And he had to pull War Manual by the ear, but he got it done. We got a super chat. I have to get to that. I'm sorry. My guy, Lost Angel, shout out to you, sir. Maybe it's because it was going to be dragged out and it was going to cause more harm than good. So they just decided to move on. I cannot disagree with that. In fact, I agree with this statement 100%. And not just causing harm, because of something that they would find out, but causing harm because, again, the players are going to have to answer. Obviously, they're going to have to answer questions about this going forward anyway. But the spotlight being on it even more and the distraction, now they know for sure, the coach is going to be out against Maryland. He's going to be out against the other state. We know that for sure. We know for sure Sharon Moore is going to be the head coach for those 2 games. Now there's some certainty rather than any doubt going forward. So I think it does have its advantages in that way. As Phil, I have no problem with bets. That's for sure. He's still actually waiting to be paid on a bet by Ryan, which Ryan needs to pay that bet, and I'm gonna see to it that he does. Don't worry. I'm pissed that they let us look like assholes supporting them for them to give in. I mean, this is fair, Dave. That's fair for you to feel that way. Um, but I also understand. I try not to get too like. Well, let me not say that because I'm I'm obviously a fan. The channel is the Maze Madman. I'm upset. Like I said, I'm upset about this. At the same time, though, there's a lot of bureaucracy that goes on between in the conference, between the member schools, all of that. Plus, you got the NCAA investigation looming above all of it. So to get some sort of resolution is fair, but I'm with you, Dave. We do kind of look like assholes. At the same time, I've been telling Michigan fans this now for a couple weeks. We need to embrace the villain role. Jim Harbaugh kind of alluded to it when he said this is America's team. And it wasn't necessarily America's team because we're the most forthright. It's America's team because there is adversity. And I'm not, by the way, I'm not saying Michigan is America's team. I want to be very clear. I want no association with that disaster in Dallas every year, by the way. But I digress. I know there are Dallas Cowboy fans here. I'm sorry for you. But as a Raider fan, I can't talk too much. But anyway, that's a different story. But in this case, the underdog story, right? And Michigan has been that now for the better part of 20 years, losing as often as we did to our arch rival in that span. The Jim finally flipping this thing on its head, the controversy that's going on now, Burgergate, all of those things lead people to get behind you. Obvious. And by the way, Michigan has been in ESPN shows, different shows, the A block of those shows more than any college this season has been in any A block on that channel, whether they're speaking negatively or positively. The same for Fox Sports. So it's definitely given that feel. That's usually the spot reserved for the Cowboys in those A blocks or for a LeBron team, because that's really all they talk about, especially on those debate shows, is the Lakers, the Cowboys, some variation of Mike versus LeBron, and now the Michigan Wolverines. So at least it's doing that. I'm sorry if I miss a comment. I'm sorry. It's a lot of them. I'm trying to get to everybody. I know I won't, but apologies ahead of time. I'm upset. Absolutely. We are all upset. My guy, Detroit. What up, though? This Jim goodbye gift to the NCAA. I feel sorry for the players. I think the crack eyes will get us in Ann Arbor this time. The milk was too much to be. Whoa, I don't know what I'm supposed to be. I don't know. All that barking, not nothing, no natty. Whoa, this is shocking. First of all, I don't think Ohio State has a chance unless Sharon Moore goes out there and just calls the worst plays he could possibly find in the playbook. And unless Michigan just completely shits the bed, there's no chance that the other state wins this game. It's just not going to happen. But I guess, you're free to feel that way. Losing Jim isn't that big of a deal. I tend to agree in terms of the X's and O's, especially during the week, because he's there during the week. However, as I pointed out, on those Saturdays when it's a crunch time situation, we have a 4th and 3 on the Michigan 39. A decision needs to be made. That's when we'll feel that presence if we're in that situation, by the way. If it's a close game and the decision is to punt it or to go for it on that 4th and 3, that's when he'll be missed. If it's a situation where we can go for maybe a fake punt or a fake field goal, that's when he'll be missed. It's those getting in the ref's ear. I think that's underrated. Those head coaches, especially coaches like Jim Harbaugh, we've seen him throw the headset, rip the headset off, get belligerent on the sideline. That sort of thing is underrated, yelling at a referee about the defense, lining up off sides regularly or something like that, just getting in their ear to make them see something that you see or even fabricate something that you see and have them think about it. So I think that can't be overlooked. That is important. By the way, if you're in here, make sure you hit the like button, share the stream. It helps the channel grow, obviously, to get more people's eyes on it. I appreciate it. Damn, are you a Michigan fan? We're coming for OSU. Definitely coming for OSU. Pause. I like this channel. I like you, Blunt Man. Pause. Pause. I appreciate it. Kinda T Jones needs to be banned. Damn it. Ban him for look, man, that is a wild point of view, T Jones, man. This team is way too good. The talent level, the fervor with which they're playing, the passion with which they're playing. I think they're the best team in the country. Georgia certainly has an argument, especially the way that they've stepped up to the competition when people thought they had a chance to lose. They've been beating the hell out of those teams specifically. Outside of Missouri, that was a close game. And they're the two-time defending champs, so they deserve a bit of leeway, right? Of rope, if you will. But nobody else I've seen this year gives me any worries. T Jones, keep smoking the crack, Blunt Man. Whoa, not the crack. Let's try to keep it peaceful in the comments. We don't need civil war, that's for sure. Pause. Michigan is going to be exposed on the 25th. Mello, I hate that it has to be you. You're my guy. I hate that on the 25th you're going to be rooting for the wrong team. I think it's going to be cold. It might be some snow that day. People pointed some things out. You know, you guys don't like that. The Maserati isn't built for the snow, man. That's not a snow vehicle. You feel me? But I will say this: the Honda Accord, Hondas. I mean, you can put a lot of miles on them. Although I do think this one's gonna break down in Ann Arbor. I don't know if anybody's traveled to Detroit or the surrounding area, but going through Detroit has massive potholes, by the way. And the Honda Accord might break down. But I digress again. Not worried. You should be. I'm going to go ahead and be honest with you, man. You should be worried. I looked at the weather. It's supposed to snow. That's not great for them. Trust me. Marv is from Philly. Yes, Marv is from Philly. Yes, he is. The rest of them are not. Melo's an insecure person who's rather other state fan who knows facts that Ohio been escaping. Melo's an insecure. Damn. You guys are coming for the gusto today. Put the pipe down, JK. But yeah, let's talk a little bit about obviously the suspension. By the way, thank you to everybody who's leaving comments. I will get back to them as soon as possible. As I pointed out, they did leave out certain facts like Jim Harbaugh and his coaching staff. It was just Jim Harbaugh. They couldn't find anything that had made him culpable, which, by the way, I'm not casting aspersions on anybody on the coaching staff, and I'm not saying that anybody is guilty. I'm just saying that was left out. Now, whether it was an oversight or not, it was left out. I don't believe that people this smart that would write that statement would oversee that. I mean, would have that kind of make that kind of mistake, if you will. But everybody is able and allowed to make mistakes. Let's hope it's a mistake. That being said, some other interesting news came out. Obviously, the FBI has gotten into the investigation surrounding Matt Weiss and his computer situation. I don't know what Matt was doing on those computers, but clearly it wasn't right. There has been some rumblings of gambling on the spreads and things like that, which is a huge no-no if you are a coach and have insider information. Definitely a no-go. And it appears that Coach The DB coach for Michigan, Steve Clinkscale, has deleted his Twitter. Not sure exactly if that's a great thing. People don't usually delete their Twitters if, there's nothing to be seen there. So, Coach Clinkscale has deleted his Twitter. Let me know in the comment section what you guys think about that. Let's touch on that a bit. And the FBI, although that's been weeks now, it was reported weeks ago that they were involved in looking at those computers that Matt Weiss was doing his bidding on. I'm not sure what Matt Weiss was doing, but that's what it sounds like. Harbaugh is a real one for sure. Harbaugh is definitely a real one. He's my guy. I rock with him. Go Blue. Shout out to Gordon. Go Blue. Again, something, another bit of news, another piece of news that happened this week because I've been away. But Michigan picked up four-star quarterback out of Fort Myers, Florida, Carter Smith. A lot of people are likening his play style to that of J.J. McCarthy. And watching some film, he definitely does have some J.J. character traits on the field, physically, that is. But I'm wondering, other people are wondering what that means for Michigan and their chances of landing Bryce Underwood, who is still the most important recruit for Michigan in the last several classes and going forward. He's a beast of a football player. He did have a cryptic tweet where he had the crying laughing emojis and he did the hashtag bet. Not sure if that's a good or bad thing for Michigan. I'm hoping it's a great thing. We'll see how it goes. Let me get into the comments really quickly. I see my guy T. Jones is back. Only feel sorry for the players. NCAA commissioner, conference president, and AD should all be ashamed of themselves. National embarrassment. T. Jones, at this point, I'm not sure if you are trolling or if somebody else, if you are like an undercover Ohio State fan. Is this a burner? This a burner YouTube account, T. Jones? Let me know. Anyway, and he said, bet yesterday it's looking good. Oh, hold on. Detroit said something. Innocent until proven guilty. Oh, no, maybe, I don't know. Seth, sounds like the committee doesn't want two big teams in the playoffs. That's for sure. I definitely don't think that's going to happen. The loser of that game this year is not going to make the college football playoff. That is my personal opinion. It's too many. First of all, it's not as the selection of other teams isn't as short as it was a year ago. There were a bunch of 2-loss teams last year that were in the running. Really, if somebody lost, other than the other state, they only had the 1 loss. But outside of them, it was some 2-loss teams that would have been in there. This year, that's not the case. It's going to be a bunch of 0-loss and 1-loss teams. Not a bunch of no loss, but certainly there will be options this year. Go Blue. I'm upset. The other state suck eyes claim we have 50 hours of their practice footage in our laptops. What are your thoughts? I think if we have 50 hours of their practice footage in our laptops, that we should never open those laptops for the ops. And by the ops, I mean the NCAA, the Big Ten, and it's their loss. How did we get 50 hours of your practice footage if it's practice? By the way, maybe you have a mole. Maybe it's an inside job. And if that's the case, stop crying. Play football. We'll see what happens. 1978 Gator Bowl, national embarrassment. That's an embarrassment. I'm worried about this commitment. I'm wavering on Underwood now. I hope we still get him. Shout out to Sabri. Yeah, I mean, look, at one point it was said that they would not be taking accepting a commitment from a quarterback until Underwood made his decision. We know he's not set to make that decision at least until January. I believe January 6th is the date, the tentative date anyway. Obviously, Carter Smith has made his commitment to Michigan already. Well, we are at least and a half months away from that commitment. So that's a little funky to me. But hopefully, Bryce is a guy who's not afraid of competition. I'm sure he was already going to be competing with Jaden Davis, um, if he did, you know, commit to Michigan. And now that Carter's there, that's just another body to compete with. But I think he's confident in his ability, so that shouldn't deter him either way. Be sure to like and share the stream. Thank you in advance. My guy Moose is here. We're not getting Underwood. He's going to LSU. He trolled Michigan on Twitter. Yeah, we were just talking about that. Or Twix. I like that, by the way. That's cute. Pause. But we were just talking about that because it could be looked at as a troll. Obviously, it could be looked at as support. It's really funny because I think the crying laughing emojis is really what makes it confusing. If he had just tweeted beat or X'd bet, then I feel like everybody will feel a lot more confident than they do today. But who knows? We're talking about practice, not a game, not a game, practice. How would OSU know? Did they hack our computers? Right? How do they know that we have 50 hours of practice footage on our laptops or the Michigan laptops? Let us know how you know, and then maybe we can have a conversation. Until then, just take this butt whooping on the 25th and keep it moving. If Michigan beats the other state, they might go to number 2. If so, Ohio most likely won't get in because of the committee not wanting 2 Big Ten teams. Yep, we just talked about that. By the way, if Michigan beats the other state, they better go to number 2. That better be what happens. By the way, at least number 2. An argument can be made that they should be number 1, but I digress. Yeah, I don't know when he did this. LOL, we don't know now. Yeah, it's very, very funny. Go Blue fans, amen. Shout out to Jamar. Go Blue, sir. Hail for sure. Ohio's got Urban Lair shows bunch of support for Michigan for all those Ohio faithful. I don't put that in the bank because it's not worth anything, but Ohio again on the outside looking in for sure. Michigan will be number 1. They should be number 1. If they beat, it would be the only top 3 win of any of those playoff teams. So they definitely should be number 1. But we'll see what happens. Ryan gave TCU our signs too. Yeah, that is the rumor. We'll see. Bruh, Regina Day. I like it. Lose for a 3rd year in a row, and also to a first-time coach in the game. They might riot here in Columbus. So get ready. Bat down the hatches, board up the windows, because it's coming. Pause. It's coming. Gatlin Bear might flip to Michigan, though. That's true. I have heard that. I do think Oregon is now in play too, though. So that's a little concerning. But Gatlin Bear is, by all intents, looking now to decommit from not BYU, but Boise State. And I do not blame him. It's Boise State. Maybe he sat there for a minute and he was like, man, I like Idaho and all my state, my home state, but it's Idaho and it's Boise State. I'm not going to win anything. Let me go to some place where I can win. And certainly he could do that at Michigan. I would say number 1, that's a bigger win than any Georgia would have this year. That's a fact. It certainly would be the best win, like I said, of any of those top 4 teams, top 5 teams, whatever. And Michigan would have another top 10 win over Penn State. So I certainly believe that they should be number 1. The only thing that could be argued in Georgia's favor at that point would be the fact that they would have played more ranked teams. But it's the quality even of those ranked teams that I think gives Michigan the nod. My guy Moose, Michigan accepted the suspension for a reason. Big is no longer pursuing sanctions, have handed it over to the NCAA. Michigan isn't cooked. Jim will be coaching in the Big Championship in the CF. Yes, I agree with this 1,000%. Obviously, they take care of business against Maryland. They take care of business against the other state. Jim will be back for the Big Ten championship game and the college football playoff. So definitely, I agree with that 1,000%. I'm upset, but go blue for sure. Shout out to my guys CJ and CJ, the DJ, and Pops. That's dope. DJ. Yeah, definitely. That's dope. Go blue for sure. Washington at Oregon will lose. Washington or Oregon will lose to Oregon State. That would be something. And I do think Oregon State is good enough to beat either one of those teams, both of those teams, even possibly. And that would definitely ruin things for the Pac-12, which this is their final season. Kind of sucks, but whatevs. Why did he commit there in the first place? Yeah, that's true. I'm guessing you're talking about Gatlin Bear, and that is a great question. But I think, as I was talking, me and Moose got into like a little back and forth about this, about like why guys commit to certain places. I mean, that's his home state. It's something about being a hometown hero rather than, taking it out of state. Some guys that are in state want to get out of their state. You know what I mean? If you grew up in one place all your life, you want to see something else, maybe it's time to leave. So it's a plethora of reasons that guys pick the schools that they pick. It's a plethora of reasons that they don't pick other schools. So there is that. We just got to take care of these last two teams and we're good. I agree with this. Big Ten 1, Michigan 0. I also agree with this. The Big Ten is up on us 1-0 going into the second. Big Ten 3-0. Now this. Well, I get what you're saying because it's a 3-game suspension. So, yeah, they're up 3-0. They 30'd us. Tell that to Underwood. Yeah, as I told you, I think, before Michigan got back into the conversation with Underwood, when it looked like Michigan State was like a leader, this is earlier in his recruitment, he was saying things like he wanted to leave the state of Michigan. So the fact that Michigan was able to even get back into that thing to make it a race even is shocking because, as I pointed out, he was saying things like he wanted to leave the state of Michigan. So it's not too far-fetched. Are there more Michigan fans in the state of Ohio? Because there are very few the other state fans in the state of Michigan. Yeah. There are a lot of Michigan fans in Ohio. By the way, Buckeye Garrison, who is a Buckeye fan, is from Michigan. He lives in Michigan. I don't know what he's doing, but yeah. There's actually a lot of Wolverines in Ohio. Facts. Try learning how to spell. I guess this is for me. Is this for me? I don't know. Did I misspell something? I don't know. If I did, apologies, sir. You're taking this way too serious. And I guarantee that it wasn't because I didn't know how to spell the word if I did it. But, typing fast, things happen. Big Ten 3, Michigan 1. Soon to make it 3-3. I mean, I don't know, Seth. Unless you're talking about the wins that they get during that 3-game suspension, then I get it. And now I understand. Yes, Michigan coming, trying to tie that thing up. Pause. Michigan was second in Bears recruitment, so should get him, but Oregon is a threat also. Yeah, that's what I was saying. Oregon's definitely in this thing. But yeah. I'm a fan of Michigan in the other state. Shout out to Detroit. I'm a fan of Michigan, born and raised in the other state. So there's that. Yes. I think he's talking about me. I'm texting from my phone, so sometimes I get the autocorrect. Got it. Got it. Got it. Got it. I have a deep, dark feeling he's going to go to Colorado. Colorado. All right, Sabri. Um, Interesting the way you worded that, but that's I think they're a dark horse for sure. Interesting, they're dark anyway. Uh, let's not make this a racial thing, but certainly I think they're a dark horse to land him. I think he enjoyed that visit. I think he likes the idea of playing for Prime. I think a lot of kids that will end up going there. It's going to be because of that head coach and not because of what he's selling them necessarily, even just because he's the coach. So there's that. Bryce Underwood's father is like a fan of Dion, so that's going to play a part. We already saw what kid's father, the kind of impact that can have on the recruitment and the commitment process with Aaron Scott. So you know uh, these things happen. Me too. Shout out to everyone. Yeah, so I want to remind everyone while I'm here, I will be live on the week 0 at 10 o'clock. Just flip over to there. You can catch me there talking about college football, all things college football. I'll also be giving pick'ems because Ryan picks the pick'ems. It's probably going to be way too many of schools that you don't necessarily like, but check it out anyway. Um, do you think Michigan goes after Montgomery and Longstreet also in 2025? That might piss Underwood off more. I do think that would definitely piss Underwood off. But I do also think if after January 6th, he either has not made a decision or chooses a different school, certainly they will be recruiting one or both of those guys for sure. I think they certainly like Montgomery. I know that for sure. But yeah, Sabri, yeah, the mid Notre Dame, Notre Dame super mid. Bears 2 years out of anything. Dion won't be there. He may follow him, but yeah. So yes, Bear, even if he commits today, it will be 2 years before he steps on any campus because he does have a commitment, a religious commitment. So there's that. But I still want him on my team. That's for sure. I think JJ goes nuts this weekend in Maryland. I think JJ definitely has a big game. So one of the things I liked about the last game, running it 32 straight times, just basically taking the will and the heart out of Penn State was a huge thing. But at the same time, it took away from JJ. Now, I pointed this out during the game. It looked like on one of those plays where Carson Barnhart was just getting destroyed on the right side, but I digress. Before they made the change to running it and to getting him some help over there. One of those hits JJ took, whether it was on a scramble or whatever, it did look like he got up a bit gimpy. And from that point on, Jerome Moore really just ran the football. So that's one of the things, but I definitely think he has a bounce back game. Thomas from Middletown, Ohio. All I got to say is they bet to win. Go Blue. Shout out to Thomas. Very familiar with Middletown as I myself was born in Dayton. Middletown, obviously, literally the middle town between Dayton and Cincinnati. So shout out to Thomas. Hail to America's team. I like it. Shout out to Wolves. I'm always on week 0 pick. Definitely you are Detroit. Be sure to follow me over there today. I do too, like 5 touchdowns. 5 touchdowns. Yeah. I think he goes 300 yards for sure. I'm going to go 3-4 touchdowns, but if he gets 5 and maybe that 5th one coming on the ground because he's certainly capable of getting it done on the ground. So for sure. Michigan's the best match for Gatling Bears long-term plans. Boise was an emotional choice rather than a logical choice. in the end, I think he'll figure it out. Yeah, it's hard to disagree with this statement. I agree with everything you just said, by the way. Um, and hopefully Michigan does land him. This Michigan lynching should slow down now since the college football world got their way today. The players have to coach themselves. I don't think more will help much. I feel sorry only for the players. Yeah, I mean, you expressed that you felt sorry for the players. And I think everybody, feels for the players at the same time. I don't know. Jerome Moore is obviously the offensive coordinator. He's the offensive line coach. He is important to the team. He obviously did a good job, well enough to out coach a top 10 team and their coach in James Franklin. Granted, James Franklin has his shortcomings, and out coaching him might not be the flex that you want it to be, at least that it is on paper, but he still has that on his resume. He is now 2-0 as a head coach for Michigan because he did coach the Bowling Green game, which, by the way, was Michigan's worst game this season, in my personal opinion. But the win against Penn State, I think, more than made up for that. So I'd like to see, obviously, what he does against Maryland. That's going to go a long way in our confidence level in him against the other state. But I do expect big things. Yeah, Bear admitted he committed to Boise State because he wanted to help it grow. Understandable. I think we're going to run the ball again this week and next week. Our right tackle was struggling last week. He certainly was struggling. He was getting dusted last week. Well, struggling isn't even the word. He was getting destroyed over there, but I could see that too. I think JJ will play 3 broken legs to win 25th for sure. Absolutely. Walk the plank. I think they screwed themselves legally when they suspended him 3 games to start the year. They suspended him before the NCAA finished this investigation. It set a precedent. Yeah, I mean, that definitely set a precedent. I also think they did that to try to lessen whatever the punishment was the NCAA was going to lay down. But now there's a whole nother investigation. Who knows what's going to happen with that? But we can only hope for the best. Penn State's D-line is the truth. Neither Ohio's nor Maryland is like them. I can say that defensive line definitely impressed me. I was not expecting them to be as effective as they were early in that game, and they were. Can't take anything away from that. The Dom and Corum is coming for sure. Sharon can do it. No worries. I believe that. Yes, I believe in Sharon Moore. And look who joins the party. It's our good friend Ryan from the Week Zero podcast, a resident Notre Dame fan, feeling real good about himself. Hopefully we get that Notre Dame LSU bowl game so we can end this discussion once and for all. After Brian Kelly wipes the floor with his old team, I don't want to hear Ryan talk another ill word of Brian Kelly. By the way, Mello was in here, Ryan. He's still waiting for his payment. You need to make that happen. Michigan versus everyone. Absolutely. Go LSU. Pop-Tart Bowl. Notre Dame versus everyone. No need. Everyone beats Notre Dame. Sure. Cough, cough. 7-3. 7-3. That's yucky, man. I don't even 7-3 teams are that's I don't even know what bowl are you gonna play. It was the Pop-Tart Bowl, but I think you guys might get replaced in the Pop-Tart Bowl. I don't know what bowl you're gonna play in, but won't be a New Year's 6. How about that? Sharon loves to run the rock. He an O-line coach who definitely pounding the rock. He does love to run it. Yeah, for sure. I think though, if Jim, is able to coach during the week, able to get in his ear a little bit during the week, because we also want to help JJ out, who could be in the thick of a Heisman race if he finishes strong these last 2 weeks. So keep that in mind too. Yeah, Ryan is here. Please come out of the Buckeyes closet. Man, Ryan has been going hard for the Buckeyes. He and Garrison, you should see them on Twitter. The Love Fest on Twitter is gross. Cerrone loves to run the rut. Oh, I just read that one. Notre Dame is the real America's team. Y'all can have that moniker. I'm not mad at it. Take it. Be America's team. It's not much difference between Notre Dame and the Cowboys, in my opinion. You guys can have that. Facts, but at least we'll win big games, unlike you. For sure. Absolutely. The fact the NCAA is interviewing players who have nothing to do with this is yet another example that the fix is in. Yeah, that is a bit alarming. And apparently the university has advised the players to fully cooperate, which, is the right thing to do. But why are y'all talking to the players? They didn't. Whatever. Yeah, sure, because you guys are trash. Oh, this is Ryan pissing people off in the comment section. Notre Dame versus WVU during Christmas week. You let them back on the show. Notre Dame was in the CFP before y'all. Good job, little bro. You finally tied us in CFP appearances. I mean, is that the flex you want to? You want to say we were there first? Sure. You got the couple college football playoffs, but guess what's going to happen this year? We're going to surpass your appearances in the college football playoff, which I don't know. It's not even a flex for us. We're not flexing about getting there now. It's about winning it. That's what it is for us. That's the flex. When we win this natty, I want to keep this comment forever, actually, because when we win this natty, we're referring back to this. Notre Dame's waiting for the OSU check for only putting 10 players on the field in the two most important plays of the game. Man, they were down bad. 1,000 wins. This needs to be said. 1,000 wins on Saturday. That's what Michigan is going for. It's going to be a glorious, glorious day. I cannot wait. Personally, I will give my prediction video. I will do my prediction video. It will be out tomorrow, so make sure you look out for that. Matt, man, love you, man. My guy. Love that. Love the he's trolling Sharon Moore, obviously here. Shout out to Mick. Love you, man. Love the shit out of you, man. This guy right here. Shout out to Sharon Moore. Michigan needs to win 5 more games. Facts. That's it. Michigan doesn't win 5 games. It's all for nothing. All of this is for nothing if Michigan doesn't finish the season winning 5 more games. 5 more to go. Michigan got to come through Athens and take the chip. That ain't happening. I agree that they have to come through Athens. In fact, I wouldn't want it any other way. If Michigan plays them in the first round or the semifinals or the finals or the championship game rather, then either way they need to play Georgia. And if Georgia is somehow beaten before Michigan can get to them, then we got to run it back next year then. At some point, though, Michigan has to see Georgia. And they got blew out both times. No pause. Facts. I'm sure that this is about Notre Dame. So facts. You're cool. Good show, dude. Shout out to you, my guy. Shout out to you. True, it's natty or bust for sure. Look, guys, I gotta wrap it up. I want to thank everybody again for supporting the channel, supporting your boy. I will be back to my regular schedule and posting and doing live. So be on the lookout for that. Just a very busy week. I just sent my offspring off to Paris in a student exchange program. Before that, she was inducted into the National Honor Society. So just that's a flex, by the way. That's a flex. For those who want to know, Ryan, that's a flex. So shout out to her in that. Again, I catch me on the Week 0 podcast as I leave here 7 minutes away. Just go over to Week 0. All you got to do is type in Week 0 Productions podcast, whatever, it'll bring it up. You might see that stupid helmet on Ryan's avatar there. Click on that. Be sure to give those guys a subscription and check us out live. We are over there in less than 7 minutes now. Till next time, stay angry, my friends.